Hi, welcome back to our series of oral training communication in English interacting with foreigners. You have already watched part 1 of communication in English. Now we're going to move on to part 2, suggested conversation topics. Suggested conversation topics. What are some of the good topics that you can talk about? Probably it's easy for you to talk about so that you can maintain the flow of conversation. Have a nice time with foreign students, whether they are international students or exchange students. Have a good time, have a pleasant conversation, and leave a good memory and impression for the foreign students. What are some of the common, easy to talk about topics that you can have in your conversations with foreign students? Can you think of any? What did you say? What are some of the good topics for conversation from your experience of interacting with foreign students? What are some of the topics you find it is easy for you to talk about? You find it is easy for the students to talk about. You find that you have a lot of things to say. You find that you have passion to discuss that topic. You find that it will stir up the atmosphere for more topics to talk about later on and after this conversation is over for next time. Right, so here I have some suggestions for you if you really can't think of anything or any suitable topics to engage yourself in a conversation with foreign students. Talk about food, right? In Taiwan, what kind of food can you talk about? You can talk about pineapple cake. You can talk about oyster omelet. What else? Stinky tofu. Or you can talk about tea, coffee. A lot of things you can say about it. And not just about the food in Taiwan. How about the food in the country of the student who you're talking to? Okay, show your curiosity to find out more about the local food that they enjoy or the difference between the food in their country and the food in Taiwan. What is their expectation of Taiwanese food before they came here? Or do they miss the food back in their hometown? Right? So food is a big general topic. Everybody will probably have a lot of things to talk about regarding this topic of food. Sports, right, in Taiwan, right? Badminton, table tennis, basketball, volleyball, right? Talk about some common sports. Or you can show your curiosity about the sports of the country where the student is from, right? Some of the sports are not exactly popular in Taiwan, or they're not feasible in Taiwan because of the weather. Right? You talk about ice hockey, talk about skating, skiing, right? These are sports that we've seen a lot on TV, but we don't get a lot of chance to try them out unless we travel to colder countries in Taiwan. So sports, big topic to talk about. Libraries. There are several libraries in NCCU, and there's a very new library that was built last year. So libraries is a good topic, especially for students. Students go to libraries to do their research, go to libraries to work on their assignments, go to libraries for discussions with the group members because there are discussion rooms in libraries. So there are a lot of things to talk about libraries, and different libraries have different characteristics. There's library in the department, there's the main library, there's the public library outside of NCCU. And you can prompt the students to talk about libraries in their countries as well. The public libraries, the libraries in their university, the difference between the main library and the departmental libraries, and which libraries do they prefer to study in? Okay, and the big topic. Fun activities to do on weekends, right? Talk about what do you do on weekends. And you can ask the students when now they're in Taiwan, where do they go on weekends? What do they do on weekends? Who do they hang out with? Back in their home country, what did they do on weekends? So big general topic to talk about. You probably will be quite interested in finding more about the activities that those students do back home. So this will be and then prompt and motivation for them to talk about the activities that they enjoy doing on weekends. And at the same time, it's a cultural exchange opportunity to find out more of, about the activities that they enjoy doing back home, which may or may not be popular in Taiwan or which don't even exist in Taiwan. Okay. Chinese classes at NCCU, you probably know that many exchange students and international students, instead of focusing just on the courses in their major, they also take Chinese classes in the Chinese Language Center to make good use of the resources in our school and also in Taiwan during the short stay here in Taiwan to learn and practice their Chinese. So this is another good topic to discuss with international students and foreign students. When in doubt, use your environment and surroundings to create conversations, right? So if you're not exactly sure, then use whatever you see around you, use whatever you observe around you, use whatever you've heard around you to create conversations. Okay, so let's give this a try. Okay, do you remember this from part 1? Okay, who is she? Do you remember her? She is Jen, an international student in NCCU, right? And it's raining today. And you saw her outside of the library. So this time, instead of talking about the weather, which we already did in part 1, you're standing right outside of the library and Jen is about to go into the library. So it's probably a good time to talk about this topic of libraries. What are you going to say to each other? I give you 10 seconds to think of how to start your conversation and what to say in your conversation. The topic of libraries. 10 seconds for you. Let's get started. Let's take a look at this conversation. Okay, we'll do it together. You'll be you here. Okay, so you say the lines of you and use my name. And then I am Jen. So please go ahead. Hello, Judy. Good. Nah, actually, I'm just going to meet up with a friend in there. Not this library. I prefer the library in the College of Commerce. I can concentrate to do my homework there. See you. Right? A nice, short, simple conversation. So if you don't have anything to say, you're not that close to Jen, an international student, right? You don't know what to say, but you feel the need to socialize with her as a host here in Taiwan and also in NCCU. So you go to her. And because both of you are outside of the main library right now, so what not a good topic to talk about? The library. Okay. Right, so let's switch roles. Let's do this conversation one more time. Now, this time I'll read the lines of you, then you be Jen this time. Hello, Jen, how's it going? You're gonna study in the library? So where do you usually study? Nice. All right. I'll see you around. So a clean, simple conversation. And whenever you're interacting with international students or exchange students, especially under this situation, in the rain, and also you know that she's about to go into the library, keep the conversation short. Okay, keep the conversation short. All right. Another one. Oh, this is you, right? You're walking on campus and you see Tina, who is an exchange student here in NCCU. You see that she's eating right now. She's snacking. So, what not a good topic to talk about? What is it? Food. All right. I'll give you 10 seconds to think of how to start your conversation with Tina and what to say in your conversation. Okay. Right. So again, right, in reality, again, you don't have 10 seconds. You don't even have 5 seconds. Maybe in 1 second you have to start a conversation, but I am generous. I'll give you 10 seconds. Right? All right. So, what are you going to say to Tina about food? Right? The situation here is that you see Tina, an exchange student, coming your way on campus. Tina is snacking on something that looks unfamiliar to you, right? You don't know even know what she's eating. Show your interest in what she's eating to socialize with her. Okay. So let's do this conversation. You be you for the first time, okay? And then I will be Tina. So please, you start first. Hi, Judy. How are you? Gansudo. It's a Mexican snack cake with strawberry filling and chocolate coating. It's so good. You should definitely try it. Here, right? A nice, simple conversation. Short, simple, pleasant, and also enjoyable as well. And at the same time, you learn something new. Tina is eating something that you don't even know what it is. You haven't seen that before. Now, because of this conversation, you learn something new. Mexican snack cake. That's dope. Right? And if you look at the last line in this conversation here, you says, "Oh, are you sure?" Do you know what that means? Are you sure that means Tina is offering you this Mexican snack cake? And then you say, "Oh, are you sure?" That means, "Oh, really? You're going to share that with me? Thank you." Okay, so this is what it meant by, "Oh, are you sure?" Okay, it shows it's not exactly a question per se, it's more like showing your enthusiasm and your excitement about receiving a snack from Tina, which you did not expect. Okay. Right? Let's switch roles. Now I'll be you in this conversation, that you be Tina. Okay, so let's do this conversation together. So I'm you, so I will start first. Tina, how are things? What's that you're eating? Oh, are you sure? Thank you. Wow. Learning something new, and at the same time you have a snack to try to see whether you like it or not. Okay. All right. So this is what I talk about, the suggested conversation topics: food, sports, libraries, fun weekend activities, Chinese classes at NCCU. Any other things that you can think of? Concerts, music, movies. Well, a lot of things you can talk about. And if you're not exactly sure which topic is appropriate at that moment. Then use your environment, use your surroundings, whatever you see around you, whatever you can observe, whether with your visuals or with your listening, then use them to create conversations. So just now in the conversation with Jen, the international student, we talk about and the conversation with Tina, exchange students, we talk about food and also libraries. Okay, so now it's your time to practice with your colleagues. You can use food and libraries as well, but you can choose the other ones: sports, fun activities to do on weekends, or Chinese classes at NCCU, or any other topics you can think about: music, movies, other topics to practice with your colleagues and see how much you can say about these topics and whether you have a pleasant conversation with each other. When you're finished practicing with your colleagues, then it will be time for you to actually go and interact with international students and exchange students in English on some of these topics to see if you have things to talk about. If not, what are some of the more suggestions for you? So you can watch some movies or go and watch some YouTube videos to expand your knowledge on these topics so that when you encounter foreign students, you have things to talk with them and socialize with them and create a good impression of you as a host here in Taiwan and also in NCCU. Okay, so are you going to practice with your colleagues now? When you're finished, then you can come back. So this will be the end of part 2 suggested conversation topics. Thank you.